Picture this, you're at home doing some work remotely and suddenly your power blinks off. Oh, hell no! You check your utility bills, but everything is paid up. I bet hacker got into your local power plant though was not on your checklist. Welcome back to Cyber Slop Weekly, your weekly source of cybersecurity news. And now for me as a South African, losing power is just part of the fucking deal. But imagine if you're out of power in the UK for 4 days. You can't do work, you can't do business, and your groceries are rotting in the fridge. Now, this could actually be the near future because news outlets have reported that an Iranian-linked hacking operation resulted in a 4-day power outage in the UK for a small power plant. And this affected a small-scale generator and it did not pose a risk to the wider power grid. However, it remains to be seen exactly how this is going to affect things in the future. Now, OT security, or operational technology security, is the field of securing SCADA systems and industrial control systems. You know, those little systems that power most of the world's water treatment, power, and industrial systems and are pretty fucking critical to everything that we do on our daily lives. Well, because these are typically not directly connected to IT networks, OT security is often overlooked. Attackers with access to these OT systems can do some pretty crazy Mr. Robot type of shit though. Like in 2021, where a hacker tried to poison a water treatment plant in Florida by increasing the lye concentration. Or more famously, when the US and Israel teamed up to destroy Iranian nuclear plants with the Stuxnet worm by causing uranium enrichment centrifuges to spin completely out of control until they destroyed themselves. Now, OT security is super interesting because it's at that exact intersection where the results of hacking can kind of spill away from IT and data and into the physical world. And as a side note, if you are really into the idea of OT security, more and more consultancies and companies are in fact looking for OT security consultants because it's becoming more relevant. And you can actually learn OT security on Hack the Box by using labs like the Alchemy Pro Lab, which focuses specifically on an OT environment. Now onto the next piece of news. Wordpress has been hit pretty hard over the last few months with some remote code execution bugs, and this is just simply the latest of the batch. This time it is a bug in WordPress's Elementor Pro plugin, which is, I believe, a layout organizer or themer that is pretty popular, and specifically the file upload form function in the Elementor Pro plugin, where you can upload files, allows attackers to upload raw PHP files into a writable directory and execute code. Now, normally Elementor Pro does actually do validation to prevent this issue. The problem, unfortunately, is that if you split a file upload into 2 parts, it bypasses the necessary extension block list, and it allows an attacker to upload arbitrary PHP files, which of course can then just be visited in the browser for remote code execution. Websites that are backed by interpreted languages like PHP are just unfortunately inherently vulnerable or problematic when it comes to insecure file upload, just because of how they run code. This is a security flaw that is present in running sites like these, and it's really tough to avoid without just migrating over to a totally different web stack, which obviously is not in the cards for every kind of business out there. Now, next up, some security researchers have actually flagged a new Android-based malware family that is designed to target vehicle head unit firmware. Now, it's just a really fancy term for the big square fucking box that's in the front of your car, that touchscreen that replaced the really good knob and dial interfaces on cars.
Every car manufacturer for that.
But ultimately, the goal of this malware has been identified to serve a multi-stage downloader that enables the creation of proxy botnets for both ad fraud and residential proxying. So in basic layman's terms, that essentially means that hackers will be able to use your car as a proxy to target other systems or other PCs or just run traffic through your car. And what makes that especially interesting is it's actually the first case of its kind where a malicious application has been developed to essentially mass target and worm through these specific vehicle systems. And I hope we aren't going to see more kind of attacks like this because it's pretty devastating. Now we're stepping ever closer to the Cyberpunk 2077 dystopia where you can just get flatlined by having your hacked car driven off a cliff. Last up for today, Microsoft is actually facing a serious battle with security these days, both with the Nightmare Eclipse fiasco and just so many new 0 days dropping in their systems, and it's getting worse. They disclosed 2 days ago that there was a serious vulnerability in Entra ID, which is of course their cloud identity and access management solution, which was insecure deserialization, interestingly enough. In layman's terms, this means that unauthorized attackers can abuse a flaw in that identity and access management system to execute arbitrary code remotely. Now, given that this is a kind of insecure deserialization attack, it almost certainly resulted from some kind of security flaw where user input was being converted into a serialized form and then deserialized back into an active object or executable code snippet. And attackers can essentially abuse that to get remote code execution on the system. This has been a pretty rough year in general for Microsoft, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. It is an exhausting time to be a security researcher or professional, so take care of yourself out there. If you enjoyed this week's episode of Cyber Slop Weekly, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And I will see you in the next video. I know it's been a while since I have posted one of these. I am going to be up and back with regular uploads from this week onwards. And in fact, I am looking to post a bunch more videos about the OSCP study and general cybersecurity topics. So follow for more for sure.